How's it going? How's it going? Welcome to My Best Property, and we are out and about again with another property. And if you thought 2020 was awesome, we're killing it in 2021. In the peak of COVID, some other people are still doing deals, and some other people are worried about what's going to happen. The recipe of all of this is continue doing what you love doing. And I'm happy to introduce to you guys to Teren. Teren, how's it going?
Good on you, TJ.
Awesome stuff. And Teren and I, we've been hanging out for a bit actually, and without wasting time on our background and all of those things, let's jump in to talk about him, because he's here and he's chosen his best property, and we're gonna find out why he's chosen it to be his best property. And hopefully you and I, we can all learn. But Teren, who's Teren?
Well, right now,
Yeah, right now, who's Teren?
right now I'm a property investor full time.
Yeah.
Looking at doing properties around Gauteng, investing in multi-lets, blocks of flats, etc.
Yeah.
Started off about 3 years ago,
Right.
and yeah, so far all good.
Okay, good. But what's your background though? Well, I mean, how do you just jump on into property? Like, property is for rich people, right? And people that have money, and like, how do you just jump into that?
I think that's a false thing.
Maybe
property is not only it's not for rich people. I mean, I think it's for disciplined people actually.
Right.
Because I mean, when we first started off, it's about living frugally, saving money,
Right.
starting off with a small deal.
Right.
I think, as you know, my first property I bought in 2017, end of 2017.
Yeah.
And
That was your first property.
that's-
Your first investment property.
Correct.
And you're not like me, who bought a couple of properties, and I was thinking that I was investing, but I was actually subsidizing the bank.
Okay.
But was like your first investment. You were making money out of it.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So yeah, that's what happened in 2017. I bought my first investment property.
Right.
It was a one-bedroom apartment in Makulnu, Pretoria.
Okay.
And then
I like Pretoria.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think once you start getting that cash flow, you start realizing, why can't I do this with bigger deals and
Right.
have more cash flow?
Right. Right. And if we look into that journey, Teren, what's your background? Like, what did you do before you went into property?
So prior to property, I've been working for about 10 or 12 years now.
Right.
Basically, mainly operations management. I was also a fund manager as well,
Yeah.
and also did like general operations management as well. So I learned about how to set up offices. I set up offices in different countries around Africa.
Yeah.
And I think even colleges around South Africa. So I think with all that experience, you learn about property, project management, construction management, and that all
Right.
came in handy in my journey, I think.
Okay. And when you started your property journey, right? The question that I want to ask of you is like, we talk about this thing about money, how do you buy and things like that. So you were employed
Yep.
when you your first property, and that was in 2017. So you didn't leave your job, you were employed, so you started this on the side.
Yep.
And the question to me is why?
So I think the why is financial freedom.
Right.
You don't want to be reliant on a job.
Right.
I think, as you said, you previously, you've been retrenched 3 times. You said, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was retrenched 3 times,
Yeah.
and one of the 3 times actually,
Yeah.
my firstborn, he was about 2-3 months,
Yeah.
and we went on for like 6 months,
Yeah.
and I had no income.
Yeah.
It was one of my hardest moments in
Yeah.
life, where I've got a child, I need to provide, and
Yeah.
I'm thinking, what the hell?
Yeah.
And I started thinking, there has to be other options out there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I mean, I've also been retrenched once, and I mean, what we're seeing nowadays is that people need that additional income,
Right.
and you don't have to own 100 units or 1,000 units. You can own 5 or 10 units, and that should be enough to sustain you when times get tough.
Right.
And I mean, I know we have ambitions of building bigger portfolios, but I think investing in property is quite a secure, safe investment to cover you when times get tough.
Yeah. I like that. And You still employed?
No, I'm not employed at the moment.
You left your job.
I left my job in
fired the
2019. Yeah, in 2019 I left my job.
Why?
Well, to pursue property full time, and I think it's all about focusing on. I think it came down to focus. It's what you want to focus on.
Right.
Because you find that when you're working, you have to focus your attention there. Then you're doing property part time, and then it can become a bit of a tricky, And once you're focusing on something full time, you're able to grow faster, learn faster, and do things much faster.
Okay. But not a lot of people can actually leave their job and then go and focus on property, because now you've got, like for instance, I got 2 kids and a wife. So, like, it's not sustainable if you don't have an income elsewhere. So, how did you navigate that?
So I think for the last 10 years or so, my wife and I have been living quite frugally.
Yeah.
I mean, we had good incomes,
Yeah.
but we lived quite frugally, well within our means. We were able to pay off our first house within, I think, 4 years.
Yeah.
And yeah,
How did you do that?
just by saving, we're saving about 30-40% of your income every month, even more sometimes.
Yeah, but you're supposed to pay it in 20 years.
That's what they say, but you don't have to. So the goal was always to build up a kitty, and to eventually we ended up selling our house and using that money for investing in property.
Right.
But I think you have to have good financial principles as well if you want to get into property full time. I mean, if you want to start a business full time, you can't be wasting your money, and especially the first few years, you need to be quite tight on your budget.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're new on this channel and you haven't seen Teren before, he's not new to this channel. He was one of the first guys that I actually interviewed on M5 Successful Friends, which is where we come out every Friday. And somewhere on the links here, you are going to see a video where him and his wife, Kuvisha, where we actually interviewed them for the first time. And that was back in 2019, I think it was, if not late 2018. And I've been hanging out with him. And this is where he is now. So from 2017 to 2021, you found some good deals. You're going on. You've left your employer. You are focused on finding good deals and learning, right? You have taken in all the skills that you've been learning as you have worked for the last 10 years of managing money, managing operations. Again, there's lots of documentation and things to do to manage when you own a property. And that's something that they didn't tell me when I went to school. I found out on the job, and I'm not an strong administrative person. But out of that, you are now in it full time. And how has this journey progressed now from when you started to here? Like, how many properties have you now closed? How many properties have you looked at? So let's start at how many properties you've looked at, at average, and how many have you closed, and like, we are here at one of these properties now.
So looking at, I can say thousands, to be honest, because every day I log on to Property 24 and you just scroll and scroll and scroll. That's when you first started off. You don't really know how to find the good deals. You're still learning, and I think that's the first part.
Yeah.
But actually physically viewing and doing a due diligence, I mean, definitely over 100, probably 200 and above.
Right.
And I think that was early as well, because you want to learn as well. But nowadays I only go out to the deals that make sense, because now you put more experience, you understand things a bit better. You don't want to spend too much time looking at deals that might not work.
Right.
So yeah, and I think at least 100 properties I looked at. I've been looking at blocks of flats, houses, and all that. In terms of the journey, started off with an apartment, as I said.
Yeah.
Then bought a house with a cottage.
How big was that apartment? I mean, I started off in a 2-bed, 1-bath, and so did Robert Kiyosaki.
Yeah.
So me and him, same levels. Right.
That was a 1-bed.
Come on.
It was converted to a 2-bed with a drywall.
Nice, I like that.
And that was in Makulnyuk. And once you start seeing that cash flow,
right,
then you start thinking to yourself, because you don't really know what it's all about before you buy the property, and you start saying, hey, I got an extra 1,000 rand in my account every month that can pay my insurances. And you think, why can't I do this with something a bit bigger? Why can't I get 4,000 rand a month and then I can pay off my car? Why can't I get 10,000 Rand a month, then it can pay your rent.
Yeah.
And that's where that thinking began from that first property, from that first bit of cash flow. Went on to do a house with a cottage, got a bit more cash flow from that deal, I think about 3,000 a month,
Yeah.
actually a bit more than that. And then I did a multi-let.
Yeah. What's a multi-let?
So multi-let, in this case, it's a house that has separate cottages on the property as well. So this house had,
Right.
it was a house that was divided into two, and then it had a cottage on this side and a cottage on the back as well.
Right.
And then that property had about 10,000 Rand cash flow a month.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that 10 grand could be someone else's salary
Yeah.
in today's term.
Yeah.
And there you are, you bought this property, you did a little bit of a job to find the property.
Yeah.
And for the rest of your life, you're getting 10 grand. And this 10 grand is potentially also growing as your bond is being paid off with your tenants. You're not paying it.
Yep.
And you just chill and manage to see what's happening. That's the beauty of property. And on top of that, the value of your property is also going up, which means that you're getting your money twice. Well, at this junction, we're going to go in to actually see the actual property where Teren has actually decided to showcase on this project. Let me warn you though, but I don't need to warn you because you already know the kind of properties that we buy. On this here, the property that Teren has bought, it's not as bad as we normally buy. I normally buy. But according to Teren, he thinks that it's still not in the right way. And we said, let's record it so that we can see when we are showing out that this is an investment property, where does it come from? So this is going to be phase one of two phases that we are going to do. Today, we are almost finished, but we're going to show you now on what the property looks like. Teren, how did you find this property? I mean, this area is far away from where you stay.
Yep.
This area is called Florida. By the way, this area is called Florida, and I actually like this area, Teren. And this area represents, to me, it represents true South Africa. When I was looking in this area here, I also have a couple of properties in this area, and it has a good mix of all races, right? Like it's got a 40% of black people, got a 10% of Indian people living here, a 20% of white people. So it's a good mix.
Yeah.
I think it represents everything that we love about South Africa. I know some people, they're like, yeah, they want to be too black and others want to be too white. But I think, yeah, it's a true representation of our country. However, what I also noticed about this area here is that it's not a high-notch area and it's not on the bottom. It's kind of like in the middle because people that are in this neighborhood, they earn anything from 60,000 rands per year to around about 600. That's the majority of them. You still have people that are going into your 2 millions, but it's a small base. So when I was looking into this area, I was like trying to figure out, so where's the opportunities? What can you do with such kind of data and information that is available? Because if you dig in a little bit deeper into an area like this one, I see 50% of the neighborhood is rented out. So you still have like an odd 55 that landlords or people that own the properties stay here, which gives me a good balance that it's not like a neighborhood that you just find tenants so they don't care about the neighborhood. So there's still like a good community around it and things like that. When you're looking in this area, Teren, what was your discovery of the area and what made you to say, well, let me go and look at that property? Because, you know, when I'm investing, when I'm buying properties, I kind of like look at these stats because I want to see where the neighborhood is going, right? And if I see where the neighborhood is going, I'm buying if I get a bond in 20 years, I should be looking at a horizon of, let's say, 5 to 10 years. What is it going to look like in there, right? And coming from your perspective, how do you look at things before you say, yeah, I like you, you're worth 5 million, but I'm going to buy you for 1 million? How does it work for you?
So I think it always comes down to numbers.
Right.
But in this case, location played a key part of that as well, because on Deckers Road is not even 200 meters from here.
Right.
So it's it's basically just off the main road. There's
Right.
a lot of businesses and small businesses in the area. We're just about 2 kilometers away from 14th Avenue.
Right.
So
Actually, you parked your car on Decker Street and you
Yeah,
walked here.
yeah.
Because there's construction
Yeah.
still happening here.
Yeah.
Because I was asking you, so where's your car, Teren? And you're like, no, I parked it up the road.
Yeah.
I'm like, where's up the road? So
Yeah.
it's very close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think in terms of this property as well, it's a big piece of land. It's about 2,300 square meters.
Wow.
Most of the properties in this area are around at least between 1.8 and 2.4. So
Right.
the properties in the area have a lot of quite big,
Yeah.
and there has been a bit of rezoning going on. The property just across the road is also rezoned as well.
Yeah.
So I think there's potential for development. There's potential to do a multi-let like what I'm doing here, and yeah, there's a lot of potential here.
You seem to be liking multi-lets.
Yeah.
and what's the story there of multi-lets?
So multi-lets, I think the reason behind multi-lets is that you can, or they call it HMOs as well,
Yeah.
overseas, is that you can get multiple tenants on one property.
Sure.
And so in that way, increasing your return on investment, increasing your yields,
Yeah.
as long as you do it correctly, I think, yeah.
Okay, good. So how did you find this property? You know, I mean, it's a mystery from other people. Like, how do you find these properties? Earlier on, you were talking about, you used to scroll down on property 24 until
Yeah.
your finger needed to have like, a, bandage and things like that. But you've gone that past that now, and now you're doing other cooler things. I don't know what are those cooler things for you to get properties. But how did you find this property?
So specifically, this one came through a sourcing agent.
Right. What's a sourcing agent?
So sourcing agent is somebody who goes out there and finds deals,
Right.
and basically it's sourcing them on or finding investors and selling the deal to the investor. So
Yeah.
the sourcing agent closed the deal.
So the sourcing agent, someone else out there,
Yeah,
and this person found an investor,
yeah,
Teren, investor. So they came to you
yeah,
and they gave the deal to you.
yeah,
Like, there's the deal,
yeah.
and in return.
In return, you pay them a sourcing fee.
Oh,
of
okay,
course.
right. So there's
Yeah.
a payment
Yeah,
involved.
there's a
here,
payment
right?
involved. Yeah,
Right. Okay.
Nothing is for free.
So there's actually people like that.
Yep.
Right. So there's many of them.
Yeah.
But where do you find them?
So I mean, I know quite a lot of sourcing agents now, but I think
Right.
at networking events, places
Yes.
like Sappin,
Yeah.
you find sourcing agents. I mean, these guys are also property investors. They're looking to build portfolios, build up capital,
Right.
and they're really good at what they do.
So if they are also looking at properties for themselves,
Yeah.
so why would they be selling on to other people? I mean, that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think it also. I think sometimes people want to build up capital as well.
Sure.
So I think it also
Good
comes up that I mean, there's enough deals out there.
Yes.
I
yes.
mean, I've seen a ton of deals. I mean, you always think, okay, this is the deal, and then people think that they lost the deal, but there's more deals. I think there's a guy by the name of Dolph DeRoos who says the deal of the century comes once a week or something.
100%.
Yeah.
So you found this via sourcing agent,
Yeah.
which meant that you didn't have to do the majority of the work. Someone else did that, and you were willing to pay for their time and their skill, and you paid whatever it was, and this deal literally came into your email, cell phone, whatever. You scrolled down whilst you were having some champagne somewhere, wherever you were in Maldives, and you're like, because I mean that's where investors go, isn't it? Right? Remember, sourcing agent, investors, right? So now you look at this deal, Teren. What made you to like say, this is a good deal? Because this is someone else's work,
Yeah.
and now they've sent the deal to you. You are still on your PC, on your phone.
Yeah.
What made you to say, this might be a good deal?
So initially the numbers look good because
Right.
there comes a spreadsheet with the potential numbers, what you can do with the property.
Right.
I prefer coming up because sometimes you find stuff that you either like or you don't like about the property.
Sure.
And in this case, I found more stuff that I liked about it. I liked the layout. It wasn't
Right.
too complicated.
Right.
That was straightforward. I had ideas on how to give people a yard, as
Yeah.
you'll probably see
It
later.
had a dirty swimming pool, as we can
And had a
see.
clean swimming pool when I came here. It's
what-
dirty
what-
now because it's under construction.
Okay, all right. Okay, we believe you.
Yeah.
But it doesn't look like it's been.
Yeah, it hasn't been clean.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
clean it.
But does it work?
This pool is perfect. It works 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got actually a feature now
Yeah.
for your tenants that are going to come in.
Yep.
So you get a house, you got a swimming pool,
Yeah.
got a big stand,
Yeah.
2,005?
2,300.
2,300
Yeah.
squares,
Yeah.
and you get that for less than 2 million. That's
Yeah.
like unheard of.
Yeah.
So who negotiated though? So did you negotiate? Did your sourcing agent come through and the deal was already closed?
The sourcing agent in this case came through and the deal was already closed. He came through. He's like, the seller wanted 1.6 million in this case for this property.
Yeah.
Do you want to take it or not?
Okay.
All I did was
Who's the sourcing agent again?
Mo. You know Mo. Mo from Sprout.
Come on, I thought he's my boy. Mo, you're passing on deals to other people. What's happening to me, man? That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
So when now the numbers will start showing,
Yeah.
and you're like, okay, this is good.
Yeah.
And then there was other things that you were looking into, and you're ticking them off.
Yeah.
In your head versus what your sourcing agent had given you. Because obviously when they came here, they saw something.
Yeah.
Did they see, or did you see what they were seeing, or were your guys thinking aligned, or you saw something that was totally different, and now you have implemented? What have you implemented now?
So I think about 80% of what the sourcing agent, or also sourcing agent, so in this case, was what I
Right.
wanted to do. I think I added just an additional unit here,
Okay.
and I had the idea of giving everyone their own yard and stuff like that. So
Right, right. Okay, good. I like the property myself, and it is something that I would do without a sound bit. Sound bit, hard bit, whatever. Without even thinking twice around it, I would do it. It isn't a cool neighborhood. This neighborhood is nice and quiet. The flora and fauna, that word, it's still beautiful. And it's not far away from a high street that is well known. I think it's the longest street in Johannesburg, Ondekas, where there is businesses, small businesses. All of those people needs to stay somewhere. And if I really look at it, those are your primary customers, kind of like.
Yep.
Right? So you are providing a solution to a already market that is there. That is number one. Number two, you have flexibility. This is your own property. You are not in, there is no big brother body corporate here. You are the body corporate. You know what Teren wants.
Yep.
You wake up, you want to fill this up, you can fill it up. Right? And that's the beauty of it, right? And it allows you to do that. And over and above that, you have worked with several professions to get to where you are now. You almost finished now. But we thought you're not yet done. Let's come in to see exactly what it takes a project for it to get to the level that we're going to get to. But with where you are right now, Teren, the professionals that you had to work with, who were those professions? So right now we've got the sourcing agent who was involved here was Mo.
Yeah.
And Mo, I'm watching you. Then secondly, who else played a pivotal role in making sure that this deal was closed?
So there was a property inspector as well,
Right?
Marisha Robus from Gauteng Property Inspectors.
Right. I also utilize her services, and great woman. I think she's the only woman who does that. Amazing lady. Why did she have to come out though?
So the idea is some investors, we don't know everything about properties. Sometimes you find that there might be a problem with the property or the structure that you might not see with your eye as an investor.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not all professionals in what we do. That's why it's always best to consult with other experts
Yeah.
to get their opinion.
Yeah.
And in this case, Marisha came out and she had a look at the property. We did an inspection report, and there was no major concerns at all.
Right.
In fact, the property was basically as it was, apart from a few broken cupboards and door keys missing. I think there was nothing else major wrong with this property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Teren was trying to say that in his perspective, he doesn't know everything.
Yeah.
He didn't say all investors. He was speaking for himself, ne? Not for everyone. Right. Just wanted to clarify.
But then why do you get inspectors?
Next on there, so you got sourcing agent, you got now a property inspector.
Yeah.
Who else?
From there onwards, I think it's just about getting a bond originator.
Okay.
In this case, it was 360 Finance, Christian Janssen, who helped me
Right.
get the bond for this property.
I use them as well.
Yeah.
They are on my team.
Yeah,
Right.
and
We got a lot in common.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And thereafter,
Thereafter, you get your bond,
right.
appointed conveyancers. In this case, it was Bruno Samal attorneys.
Right. How did you get to have your own conveyancer on the offer to purchase?
Well, in this case, the sellers didn't mind.
Okay.
They were fine with whatever we wanted. They wanted the property sold,
Yeah.
and we said we'll put our conveyancers, and they were happy with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So we got 4 players right now.
Yeah.
We're still going on. Who else did we have?
After that, obviously the contractor.
Right.
Contractor, you get a few quotes out. You tell them what your idea is.
Yeah.
It's important to get a good contractor as well because they need to be able to bring your vision to life.
Sure.
And also, you want a good contractor who can manage the project by themselves.
Right.
And I think that's very important as well. To have a contractor who's not going to trouble you, and you have to come out and keep on following up with him. I think someone
Yeah.
who can finish the job that they give him.
How long have you had your contractor? Because I think a lot of people struggle with the idea of contractor.
Yeah.
I remember when I was starting off, that was also one of my challenges.
Yeah.
But my winning recipe, and I know I don't recommend this for anyone, right? My winning recipe is my contractor became my partner.
Yeah.
A few years later on, after we worked on
Yeah.
good projects together, because he's got a big vision. He's done bigger projects than I've got, and I wanted his IP, right? And I thought it was going to be good for my team. So I opened up the bank and we said, let's be partners, let's do more deals. And that's how I've now secured a good contractor, kind of like for the next while.
Yeah.
But on your side, like, if you also had challenges with contractors like other people have, I mean, all the challenges that we see, people never speak of, hey, my bond originator is terrible, hey, my sourcing agent is terrible. They don't. They always speak about contractors.
Yeah.
What's your experience?
So in the past, I have had a few hiccups with contractors. You pay them and they don't show up.
Wow.
Worst case scenario, but not such a big job, a much smaller job.
Sure.
But in this case, I had a good experience so far. Things are coming out as I envisioned it to come out.
Right.
Obviously, there were some delays with COVID and delays with cement, and then apparently some of the guys got stuck at the border because of closing the borders during COVID and all of that. So there were some delays, but I think I'm still happy with as long as it gets ready by the end of in the next 2 to 3 weeks, I'll be happy.
Yeah. Right. So I know your wife is also involved in your guys' business, Kuvisha, and I just want to set the record straight here. When Teren is saying that the contractor is happy with what his vision is, he is actually meaning about Kuvisha.
Yeah.
So I just want to set the record straight there. But whilst we're talking about that, how is your wife involved in the business? Because now you're full-time, you have more time.
Yeah.
She's employed still. The last time we were having conversations. But in terms of the business, what you're doing now, her involvement, and I mean, I'm talking about people that have watched our first episode that we did a while back. And you guys have always, like all networks, I see you guys together. You're always learning together.
Yeah.
You're growing this together. You started off young together with it. You've been saving money together on it. So now that you're doing more stuff in multiple projects at the same time, like, has things evolved, or is it like, you share with us how that's panning out?
So I think now because I'm doing this full time,
Right.
my wife is actually slightly less involved.
Right.
But the plan is for her to get more involved in the long term.
Okay.
But I think she only gets involved now when I'm about to close it. Because she
Sure.
comes and makes sure that I'm seeing everything correctly. Because obviously in
Right.
the second opinion, and she's much more detail orientated than I am.
Right.
I have all this vision and this big picture. I want to just jump at deals. And she'll come in and be like, are you sure about this? Are you sure about this?
Right.
So she has that
So she
mindset.
checks you
yeah,
out.
she checks me out, yeah.
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 And that's very important, right?
Yeah.
And I want to say that this is not for everybody.
Yeah.
You know, for some people, you can't work with your spouses. And it's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think the point here that we're trying to drive here is have someone else other than yourself that you can check on deals. So after you've seen a deal and you like it and things like that, someone who has obviously your interest at heart, but who is not, that person must not be involved in the deal. Because if they are involved in the deal, the emotions of it's looking good and all of that can overcloud their judgment. For Teren, it works because his missus is, she's not in the deal. She has their best interest because obviously it's her money, right? So that's important. Teren, can we jump into the house and see what it looks like?
Cool. Let's do it.
Okay, right. So we're going to walk around the actual property. Teren, you said it's around about 2,300 squares. And I mean, this pool we said is fully functional.
Yeah.
And I don't think so, but I'll believe you. I think, you know what we should?
We'll see you in the next video.
We'll see in the next video, yeah? Right, good stuff. And this is, what is this? What is this going to turn out to be?
So this is going to be like your entertainment area for the tenants. It's going to stay as is.
Yeah?
We think of putting a braai stand over here as well, so tenants can braai by the pool. We're thinking of that yard across there to be the communal area for the tenants.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is all this junk?
So this is what we took out from the house.
Right.
So as you'll see, we basically stripped the house down right to the walls. We took out everything from all the cupboards, all the flooring, the ceilings, bathrooms. There's basically just the structure left. And this is what's left of whatever, well, some of what was left. I think some of the stuff I used in another property. I actually took some of the good stuff and I put it in another property. So
Yeah, well done. It's called reusing.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So all of this stuff, some of it is still reusable.
Yeah.
Are you going to keep it all year somewhere, storeroom, or what's going to happen? Because I mean, you almost finished.
Yeah. So I mean this stuff now is I'm probably gonna scrap or sell it.
Yeah.
I
I got a storeroom there, but
Yeah.
my big building. I
You can see what the stuff has been in the rain for 2 months, but you can see what you can do with it.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So there we are, 2,300. I mean, you still have big trees here, like trees
Yeah.
that have been here for like 20, 30 years.
Yep.
And then there's the big house.
Yeah.
Maybe let's jump in and see. Actually. Where can we start off there? In there?
We can start there. Let's start off here, maybe the 3-bedroom.
Okay, cool. Right, so we are in one of the units now. This is a 3-bed, right?
Yep.
And in here, this is a bathroom room.
Correct.
Kitchen?
Kitchen is that side.
Okay, so this is bathroom. Right, so in this bathroom room here is... This is a humongous bathroom.
Yeah. It's quite a big bathroom, I'd say.
You don't get big bathroom rooms like these ones these days.
Yeah.
You get like a quarter of this, if not even, right? So what are you going to do here?
So this bathroom we're just replacing the bathtub, putting a new bathroom here. Bathtub, toilet, sink with a cabinet.
Right.
And we're actually putting a double shower here because we realized it's not going to cost. There was a single shower here, but because we got all the space, it's not going to cost.
Double shower.
A double shower, yeah.
A double shower.
Yeah, so there's going to be. I think there's going to be 2.
Okay. Are you moving in this unit?
No.
Because I mean,
I would like to.
you're going all out here, right?
Yeah.
Like a double shower. Like
Yeah.
who does that?
Yeah.
Why a double shower?
I mean, we sort of attracting. So the idea with this property is we're trying to attract the premium tenants. I mean, people might look at this unit and be like, it's a nice family unit.
Of course.
So I mean, and the cost, it's not much different from when I looked at it for double shower.
100%. So
Yeah.
I've got a double shower in my house.
Yeah.
Initially it was for me and my missus.
Yeah.
But you know, as my little girl been growing up,
Yeah.
I see that, you know, my wife and my little girl, they need to do the hair and
Yeah.
things like that. So the double shower helps.
Yeah.
Right? So things like that definitely attracts. It sets you apart from anyone else. I mean, you can even charge like maybe 500 rand because of that. It's a value add that
Yeah.
you're putting in here. Nowhere else are they going to see a double shower. Amazing, I like this. Well done. Right, so let's go into the other units.
Okay, cool.
I can see that on the bottom here we're still doing tiling.
Is it tiling?
Right?
Yep.
And
Yes.
what is this?
This is the bedroom,
This is a bedroom.
and this is the other bedroom here.
It's another bedroom.
Still busy tiling.
Okay, good stuff. And what is this?
Here we've got the kitchen.
Okay, so this is a kitchen,
Yeah.
right? And on this kitchen here, you've already put up your cupboards.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah.
You've already put up your cupboards.
Yep.
We should have been wearing some helmets here because you know it's a construction site,
Yeah.
right? And what's there now to do?
So-
Put in a stove,
Putting the stove, actually I just see the electrical still needs to be done here as well.
right?
So we're busy with electrical. Each unit has its own DB board as well. So
Right.
with its own switches for each room or stove, whatever.
Yeah.
We're putting in a stove here, gas stove as well.
Why gas stove?
So in this case, because it's a multi-let and we're having 6 units on a property,
Yeah.
you might, and it's phase 1 electrical, you might actually have a problem with in case power trips. So we decided to put gas in 5 of the units,
Yeah.
just to ensure that there's no power issues on the property.
I thought you were going environmentally friendly.
Gas is also cheaper and maybe it isn't. I think it's more environmentally friendly as well.
Right.
Yeah.
So in this unit here,
Yeah.
this becomes a what?
This is the lounge.
This is the lounge.
Yeah.
Right. If we look into this here, still a lot of work to be done here.
Yeah.
Quite a lot of work. There's electricity that's been moved here.
Yeah.
Right. Cool. I like this unit. It's nice, spacious, 3-bed. You got a small dining in here.
Dining is there. Oh, so the room next door can be a 3rd bedroom, a study, or a dining. The people moving can decide what they want. It's just that extra room that you have the flexibility to decide what you want.
If I were you, I'd just advertise it as a bedroom. Because it fixes moment.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah.
Alright, good. So that's it about the first unit that we've shown you. This is one of the units that is like totally, this is the worst one in terms of, this is the bottom one in terms of being finished.
Yeah, so this is the last one we took on. So it's still got a lot of work to do.
Still a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
We're going to take you now into another unit. This one here is almost done. So we're already thinking of, Teren is already thinking of, you know, putting in out onto the market. Let's go and check it out. Right, so we are in a 2-bed now, and within this 2-bed, Teren, you're almost done. This looks amazingly beautiful.
Thanks. Thank you, TJ.
Right? What made you to go with the color that you've got? I mean, like, this is a nice color. Why that color?
So I think you want to go with a slightly off-white color because with tenants you don't want to have to repaint your walls all the time whenever tenants move out.
Yeah.
So sometimes a slightly off-white color with quality paint works better, so you don't have to keep on repainting the house every time a tenant moves out. You can probably just wipe most of the stains off.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I forgot what they call this at the bottom here. You normally have it as a wooden strip.
Yeah.
But I see you going in tiles.
Yeah.
Why tiles then? Not that wooden strip.
I think tiles are less maintenance. Wooden strips can get damaged. They require maintenance down the line. So yeah, that's better.
Okay.
Tiles.
Cool.
Yeah.
So each unit is going to have its own prepaid meter.
Yeah.
Each unit is going to have its own prepaid for water.
Yeah. Water meter.
Right. So you are looking at a unit standalone.
Yeah.
They call them lock and go.
Yeah.
Right. And this is a 2-bed.
Yeah.
So when you're walking in here, so I see there's a sliding door here. Right. So when you're walking from there, you're coming in. This is open plan kitchen.
Yeah.
Dining space, yeah. Lounge. What else still needs to be done here?
So the only thing that needs to be done here is stove, gas stove.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a space there for your dishwasher / washing machine.
Right.
And then you got a space here for the fridge, for the plug point behind. And obviously the sink as well is still missing here. So
The sink is still missing.
Yeah.
Yes. Right. Yeah. Teren, something else that I want us to speak to.
Yep.
This was an old house,
Yep.
but where we are standing right now, what was it in the old house?
So this whole unit here was just allowed before.
So from the wall here,
Yeah.
you didn't change nothing. The wall was here.
Yeah, the wall was here, yeah.
Yeah. So from here, going that way.
Yeah. So those are all new walls. There was a passage over here, so we built over here.
So you closed off.
Yeah, we just closed the passage there.
Right.
And these are new walls.
Right.
Yeah.
So you started off open plan here.
Yeah.
You're coming through
Yeah.
open plan, and now you got a bathroom. So you included a new bathroom. This
Yep.
is new.
This is a brand new bathroom with new plumbing and everything. Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
that's an additional.
Yeah.
And we come into this unit here.
Yeah.
You put in a new wall.
This is a new wall.
So you put in a new wall here, and now you've got what? This is a bed.
This is a bedroom. Yeah.
So this is a one bed, right?
2 bed, but this is 1 bedroom. Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
the humongous unit.
Yep.
Nice lighting and things like that.
Yeah.
Cupboards. You put in new cupboards. Right. This wasn't here.
Yeah, that wasn't here.
Okay. It's an old house, and this is what I like about old houses. They come with so much space.
Yep.
And you can do multiple things around it. Okay? Bedroom number 1, bedroom number 2. Okay. Again, nice spacious, you can fit in a king size bed here. Yeah, amazing stuff. And you put in obviously
Built-in cupboards.
built-in cupboards, the windows were here,
Yeah, the windows were here.
and not much of a huge change.
Yep. That window there where the door is now was it was a window, but we made that a sliding door. Now we just extended that slightly down. So that's the only like external structure change we're going to call it this unit.
But why do you have 2 doors here? So you got a sliding door here.
Yeah. So that's a good question. I mean, all the units have 2 doors, so this made sense to just put it here. I think it's just better. I mean, I don't know.
It just creates the terrace. It creates that terrace.
And we actually ordered extra sliding doors, but it looks nice as well.
Well, it is Teren. Well, we're gonna go outside now and then we'll see the gardens and yeah. So we are outside now, Teren, and you said to me that each unit is going to have its own garden,
Yep.
right? So what's the plan here? I mean, this is all communal gardens and you've got different units. We're going to jump into the next unit now.
Yeah.
But for instance, this unit here,
Yeah.
what's the idea now?
So the idea is to give everyone their own garden. I mean, this will probably still be a common walkway
Sure.
from where the carports are going to be over there.
Right.
And we're going to separate with a little fence here all the way to the end here. So each unit here, there's 4 units here, will have their
All the
own
way to
garden.
the end.
All the way to the end. So it's quite a large garden for each unit.
So you're saying that from the walkway here,
Yeah.
so that's not
Covered here.
and you put a fence here,
All the way to
so all the way to there.
Yeah.
Okay, good. But where are they going to park their cars now? Do they park their cars here?
So, I mean, there should be enough space there to park the cars. I mean, you can actually put 6 carports there where the rubble is right now. Plus, you've got the driveway.
Yeah.
I mean, if we ever needed more space, you can always just add parking over here. So, I mean, the people will still have this garden here. So, if you do need more parking, you can get more parking space over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you got a humongous garden.
Yeah. I mean, it's huge. Quite a garden. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to jump on into the next unit, which is going to be the last unit. And let's show you how big or spacious is the garden for that unit and how amazing that unit is as well. So we're outside on the other side of the yard, and behind us is where the swimming pool is, where we started off in the video. But now we're on the other side, and Teren, your idea is to bring or to give people that are going to be your tenants here their own yards.
Yep.
Right? But as a landlord, you are still going to manage all of this.
Yeah.
So you're not just going to leave them to maintain it.
Yeah.
Because it might never be
Yeah, exactly.
maintained.
Yeah.
Right? So with that, my thinking, or should I say my question is, this unit here that we are seeing, this is the last unit on this side of the yard.
Yeah.
How much of a garden do they get then?
So this guy's actually going to be quite lucky because he's going to have this whole space we're here at now, and probably up until that corner over there. So it's going to be this whole area over here, all the way over there. So this guy's going to have, he can probably have a cricket match in his yard.
It's about an eighth or maybe a sixth of the yard.
Yeah.
So is his rent going to be up?
Yeah. Why
Because
not?
I mean, he can play cricket here. on
Yeah,
the
yeah,
right, so
yeah.
let's jump into the other unit and let's see. It's been quite a lot of maintenance here that you need to be doing. How do you manage the maintenance though?
So in terms of managing the maintenance, I mean, considering this property is, you're talking about the garden.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so the garden, I've got a monthly, I've subscribed to a monthly service, garden service, so the guys come out once a week.
Yeah.
They cut the grass, they clean the pool, and they trim the branches every now and then.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Traditionally, this is, or not traditional, but on the previous, when you bought it,
Yeah.
what was this? So we've just walked in into this.
So actually this was one bedroom now, not this space, the entire unit was a bedroom.
So you have converted what used to be one bed, and you have converted into what?
Into a 2-bedroom unit.
Into a 2-bedroom unit.
Yeah.
So this was not here.
No, this was a window before.
This was a window before,
Yeah.
and you made a sliding door to
Yeah.
create the
Yeah.
area. And now this is a bedroom,
Yeah.
right? You walk in here, and voila, you are in what? Open kitchen?
Open kitchen, large area, we've got the plug point there for your TV,
Right,
fiber point as well,
right.
probably going to be lower.
Okay.
Um,
And in here on our right hand side.
this is a spacious bathroom. And
Right. Okay.
and this is a bedroom. And strange enough, this was actually a bathroom before, so you can tell how huge this house was, depending how big the bathroom was. This bathroom was quite big.
So this used to be the bathroom.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's humongous.
Yep.
And you've turned it into a bed.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, where you had a one bed ensuite,
Yeah.
you have changed it into a 2-bed.
Yeah.
That's amazing. But here's the thing, right? And I've seen this quite a lot too. And what you're doing is amazing, because what you're doing is you're making sure that on these big houses that we've got,
Yeah.
you do not, if you're to rent it out on its own like this,
Yeah.
I'm sure you've seen it when you're checking out other properties.
Yeah.
What normally happens is you might have people that will move in here and then they'll sublet.
Yeah.
But with what you've done here, you take away that
Yeah.
and you put in better things.
Yep.
That's good. It's amazing what we've seen here. You can, I think anyone can do it. If you really want to do it, if you want to focus in, and I know that I'm always talking about, anyone can do it. There you are. Tyranny is like anyone. He can do it. And if he's been doing it, this has been a longer journey for him. I think for a lot of us, we want to look at, Teren is now doing deals within this last 3 years and things like that. But if you really look at it, Teren, it hasn't been 3 years. It's been more than that. You started off, when you started saving up and paying off your bond, you had something in mind, and that something in mind is only manifesting now.
Yep, you can say that. I think, you always have this big idea of what you're going to do one day.
Yeah.
But to be honest with property, I had the idea of investing property. 3 years ago, I didn't even know what a conveyancing was. I didn't know about property. So, to be honest, it has largely been a 3-year journey for me thus far, but obviously you have your ideas before that you want to get into property. I always knew I wanted to get into property.
Yeah.
But when you actually start doing it, it's a different ballgame altogether. And once you start learning about things like, I don't know about paint, how much does it cost to paint a room, or things like all that,
now you do.
taxes, and now you do, so.
Yeah. And I think that's it, ladies and gentlemen. On a property like this one, it is fairly easy to bank in an easy 10 to 15,000, depending on how much you have put in, how much you have actually put in reno. But maybe let's ask Teren actually on this particular property. I know that we're still in for, we need to put in tenants and things like that. You've done your projections, you've weighed the numbers, which is what they call due diligence. You bought this property for how much?
1.6 million.
So you bought it for 1.6. And have you ring-fenced your budget now? Are you almost saying like, TJ, if I spend X amount of money, we stop it here? Or how much is your budget?
So the reno came to about 650 in total.
No, we can't say it came to, because we're still finishing off.
No, I mean that's included. Everything is included there. Can't add more. I mean there might be a slight bit more. You never know. I mean we didn't plan to put water meters initially, and then we added that.
Right. So it's now
660.
660.
Yeah, something.
Okay.
It happens, yeah.
So and I'm saying this because obviously I'm in projects all the time. Your budget, and then something else that you forgot or something else that you discovered when the actual problem pops up. So your budget is 600,000 and you went all in, you closing it off. At average, with your projections now, working with your estate agent in the area, your estate agent obviously saying they can collect higher amounts. How much are they saying that they can collect for you?
So people are saying you can get up to, on the whole property, up to 40,000 rand.
Alright, up to 40 grand. And you are comfortable at what?
I'm comfortable at 35.
So Teren, on a property like this one, what you have literally done here is amazing, right? So having to work with, I think this will be professional person number 8, who's now your estate agent. And with working with your estate agent, how much are they saying that you can actually collect? Because I think they normally come up with that much.
So the letting agent is saying you get anywhere between 39 and 42,000 rand actually. If you get maximum rental, and because you got 3 bedrooms, you got 3 2-bedrooms as well, and 1-bedrooms. They're looking at, let's call it 40,000 rand.
Okay. How much are you calculating?
I'm looking at 35.
Right. The reason why I'm asking him about this is that as a property investor, if you're doing it seriously, you want to go with a lower number, and if the numbers come up on the upside, then it's a bonus, right? And that's how it's called contingency. So you're working within your contingency plans. And with that, Teren, I also want to ask you another question. So which basically means that it's pretty easy to walk away with an average 10 to 15,000 profit on this property here if you're like fully tenant.
You're talking about cash flow. Right?
Cash flow, I don't see a reason why you wouldn't. This is a beautiful place, but I also want to put in another disclaimer to say what you've done here is to create a complex. This is a private complex that you've put in. Right? No way, like, I just want to jump into the complex conversation and say to you, so what have you done, because what you have created here with the complex that you've got, you now have a house that you've turned into separate units. Your architect, your town planner, how far are you on that journey? Because that has an impact now. You've got, it's still a raised one, but now you could sort of, the house is still the same structure, but you've done changes, right? So what's their views, or what kind of work have you done for, I'm talking about compliance here.
So in terms of the area, because most of the properties in the area are around 2,000 square meters.
Right.
Most of our neighbors and most of the properties on this road have multiple cottages on it.
Right.
So the guy across the road actually rezoned and sold off units. So speaking to my town planner, he said on this property, because it's so large, you actually build 13 units and you shouldn't get 1-3. And you shouldn't actually
you've got how many?
6.
Oh, so you're way below.
I'm way below.
Right.
So there shouldn't actually be any issue to get this rezoned.
Right.
Which is in the process now. I've brought in an architect, I've brought in a town planner. Neighbors haven't complained thus far. I mean, everyone, your neighbor also has that on his side.
So I was speaking to my town planner this week. I am having a rezoning on sectionalizing on one of the properties. And basically what he says to me,
Yeah.
we should have gotten the compliance approval maybe by February.
Yeah.
And I'm checking.
Yeah.
We are what now? We are in Jan.
Yeah.
So we're close to a year now.
Yeah.
He says to me, because of COVID,
Yeah.
2 executives died,
Yeah.
3 people are in ICU,
Yeah.
and this is a department of around about 13 people.
Yeah.
So COVID is not just impacting out there,
Yeah.
it's also impacting on professional people.
Yeah.
And these people, if they die, your application, how far is it? Mine has been in there for a year. We're supposed to be taking 3 months.
Yeah, so there obviously are delays. At the moment, I don't think I would have any issues letting it out as is. Considering the area, and people do have cottages on the area.
100%.
I just might have 2 more cottages than what everyone else has on the property.
Yeah.
I also plan
Which is on your plans at the moment.
Yeah, everything is actually on the plans. Just said we close the passage.
Sure.
So pretty much most of we haven't really broken down any walls from the initial plan.
Right. So your architect is giving you a thumbs up.
Yeah.
You've got your town planner who's giving you a thumbs up.
Yeah.
But do you want to resolve?
That's a good question. I could. There could also be potential to develop this land on here. But at this moment, it might not be necessary because nobody's complaining so far. If I do need to push it, I can push it, and apparently there shouldn't be an issue because the neighbors approved the guy across to get rezoned and do a sectional title.
Yeah.
So there shouldn't actually be any reason considering the size of the land as well.
So,
and considering the area. It's not like you're doing this in the middle of Santon where people will be probably very upset.
So what you're telling us is that phase 2 we might be seeing what other
potential
units?
Yeah, you might be seeing another 5-6 units because you can do it.
Well done. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the opportunities that you've got. You get into something else, you think that this is what it is, but then you start talking to your professionals and you start seeing other opportunities that you didn't know of. Well, if you are one of those people that have been enjoying this, and if you haven't subscribed, now is the time for you to subscribe and hit the notification button so that when we go live again, you will hear about this. We'll check you out in the next video. Again, thanks, Teren.
Thank you.
Short.